Welcome back. We're here to talk about Saturday's Premier League match between Stoke and West Brom. Both sides needed penalties to come through their League Cup ties in midweek, but West Brom will start with them, bottom of the table after defeat to Chelsea last time out.
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy welcoming the champions. You know, their first home game was at home to City, who have been the best team so far this season, so it's not been the easiest start for them at all. But yeah, the game against Chelsea, they'll probably look back on it and think they might have been able to get something out of it. Losing 3-2, especially as Chelsea went down to 10 men. But I think, it's the way they started the game to fall one down like they did to Pedro's goal, and then they had the chance to get back on level terms, but Morrison missing the penalty, and then they're soon punished when Costa scores. And at 2-0, you probably think it's game over, a Mourinho team away from home. But to be fair to them, Morrison especially, fought back, got the goal before half-time, and then, conceding that third goal, just before the break, as Piliqueta, that was a real blow for them. But then, after the second half, into the second half, and Terry gets sent off, and they get the goal through Morrison to get his 3-2, and they stood a chance there of getting a point out of the game. Couldn't quite create too many chances at the end, and yeah, like you say, midweek the Capital One Cup game against Port Vale, not being able to score there is disappointing. But in the league, bottom of the table, like you say, it has been a difficult start. City and Chelsea, the two home games, going to Watford, for their other game. What that would have been Watford's first home game since getting promoted as well. So certainly the storylines of each game, pointed to West Brom struggling. But to be bottom of the table after 3 games is disappointing.
Yeah, you do have to say it is a hard start, but I think they would have gone into that game against Chelsea thinking there's not many better times to face Chelsea because they've had a poor start to the season. Terry got subbed, there was that whole thing about him, and then obviously got sent off, so they're playing against 10 men for a long spell. They did well in that game. There's a lot of encouraging signs for them to take out of it, but defensively now 6 goals conceded in 2 home games. It's not like a Pulis side at all. I was backing them to do very well this season. Still think they will do quite well, but it hasn't been the best start to the season for them. And Pulis, he's been very critical of the transfer window going on while the season's started, which I think he's got a very good point. He says it distracts players, and Berahino's been one of those who hasn't made the squad for the Chelsea game. He didn't make the squad for the midweek game in the League Cup either. Rejected 2 bids for Tottenham Hotspur. Pulis has always said he's never had a problem with Berahino. He's always defended the character, but naturally, as a youngster, when a team like Tottenham's coming in for him, his head is being turned, and Pulis isn't happy with that. For West Brom, I think it's quite important they keep hold of him. For the player, I think it's important to stay as well, because he's getting regular first team action there at a team that's expected to push for the top half football, so he could be in a much worse scenario, Berahino, if they do manage to keep hold of him. And they certainly don't look like they're going to let him go for cheap. They've rejected a £21 million bid now, and it will probably take something closer to 25 if they are finally going to give in and sell him to Tottenham. But if they're going to get rid of him, then they probably need to bring someone else in, because Rondon, Lambert, they've looked promising so far, but they're not going to get the same amount of goals as Berahino did, I don't think.
Maybe not, no, but I think Berahino, for me, it's a staggering fee, isn't it? The problem is, since the bar's been set by Carroll for 35 million to Liverpool, and 22 million for Berahino, that's the same price that Pedro went to Chelsea for. And you think that, I know that was only a release clause anyway, but the amount of money for English players is just staggering. And like I say, I think if he does stay, it'd be obviously a big for West Brom as long as his head's right. But I think if he leaves, I think Rondon's impressed me. In the sort of games I've seen him play, I think Lambert should be good for them. He had a decent start in pre-season, but hasn't done too much yet. But I think we forget about Brownie Day as well. He sort of came in last season, didn't do too much, in that sort of first half of last season, but he had his moments in the second half of last season, showing he can be a useful player off the bench. And I think if you've got Rondon, he's the sort of player, he looks quite suited to the Premier League, he's going to put himself about. If he can do that, Lambert should be able to score goals, and with a day coming off the bench as well. I think if Berahino did leave, I think they certainly could cope, but like we talked about the League Cup as well, 120 minutes they've had to play, and I think they'll probably be glad that Stoke have had to do the same in their game. And yeah, they come into this, they did get through in the end on penalties, but conceding 3 goals, like you said, in both games against City and Chelsea, and then not being able to score against a League One side in Port Vale in midweek, Pulis will be really angry with that home form, and he'll want to put it right soon.
Yeah, but Stoke, they've also had they were an underwhelming start to the season themselves, still looking for their first win. They're another team. These are 2 teams I thought would do quite well this season, but Stoke yet to really get going. 1-1 draw with Norwich last time out, but perhaps a little fortunate to get away with even that a point there. Butland was forced into some cracking saves. He made a string of really good stops, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him named in the England squad just on the back of that performance. It was a really good display. Norwich hit the post as well for Graham Dorrans. It was Stoke, Norwich are the type of team Stoke should be beating if they want to push on for that next level. There are positives to take from that game. Shaqiri made his full debut, got an assist with a really good delivery as well. Diouf got another goal. He's going to be an important player for them this season. They've got the players, they're just not clicking at the moment as I thought they would do. Still think they'll be decent. I still think they'll certainly be top half, but it hasn't been the most encouraging start to the season for them. And Mark Hughes maybe be beginning to get a bit worried now, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think the thing about those Butland saves that really impressed me is that quite a few of them were saves that, some goalkeeper performances. I remember Tim Howard, that legendary game he had against Belgium at the World Cup, was sort of like countless saves he made, but you watch the replays back and you thought he should be making a lot of those saves, but some of the Butland ones there were like saves that you thought, wow, you wouldn't expect him to make the save. The one that from Redmond that he tipped wide was a fantastic save for me, almost as good as the Czech ones for Arsenal against Liverpool. He was so impressive for me in that game, but yeah, I mean, they're still looking for that first win, aren't they? And I know they beat Luton on penalties in the cup, but in the league, still searching for that first win. And yeah, you look at some of their performances. You would have said they matched Liverpool in that opening game, but they couldn't get the win there. And they'll certainly be wanting to get that first win soon because not being able to beat Luton, in normal time is disappointing, as it was for West Brom to not beat Port Vale. So certainly we wanting to get their first win, and home to West Brom here, bottom of the table, back at home where Stoke are usually quite strong. You'd certainly think they'll start this game as favourites.
Do you think backing them to get the win?
I think, yeah, certainly I am. Yeah, I think they were decent against Liverpool, and certainly Liverpool that was sort of a clash of they both cancelled each other out in that first game against Liverpool. But I think Stoke here should have it more their own way in this one. I think they'll win this one 2-0.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Stoke have had a tough start to the season. You've got to say that against Tottenham, they did really well to come back from 2 down. So there have been encouraging signs for their start to the season. I'm backing them to get their first win here as well. And West Brom, they won't make it easy. I think Pulis will be determined to keep things tight. But I see Stoke just having the quality in that final third with all the likes of Diouf and Shaqiri to make the breakthrough. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Stoke win. So both going for narrow Stoke victories. Thanks for watching.